Hi, and welcome to Waiting on the Most High, where we talk about losing the weight, not just physical pounds, but the weight of the world, trauma, situations, and just life in general. Thanks for stopping by. And today, I want to talk about endurance, right? And endurance has a lot to do with your physical weight journey and your spiritual weight journey. Um, Physically, when we're working out, you always want to go past what you feel your threshold is. When you feel like you're tired, when you feel like you can't go anymore, that's when you really have to push and you really have to endure to get those extra reps in, to really extend your body to see what limits you actually can reach. Because if you stop every time you're tired, if you stop at the same number, let's just say you stop at 10 every time, you're not going to see any progression. You're not going to see a change in yourself physically. As soon as you probably would still see a change for sure. But it definitely wouldn't come as soon and it wouldn't be as impactful as the person who is working out and they're pushing themselves past that threshold. And what I've noticed in life is we do the same thing spiritually, emotionally as well. We allow things to stop us from progressing when life gets hard and things happen. You know, when they say when it rains, it pours. And it really seems like these past 2 weeks, it started off as a sprinkle, then it started to rain a little bit more, and just like a thunderstorm hit. And I'm just like, bro, what's going on? And thankfully, I've gotten to the point in my spiritual journey where I recognize the importance of endurance the way I recognize it physically. And I sit back and I think, and I'm just like, God, I don't want to push back. I don't want to fight back, especially in situations to where things are just completely out of my control. And it's so often I've noticed with people around me, people I talk to, and people just from observing and overhearing conversations, a lot of us allow things to stop us in our tracks versus us just sitting in it and allowing things to flow as natural as they can. One thing I do know is that everything that happens to us happens for a reason. And in your righteousness and in your obedience to God is going to work in your favor. This is not something that somebody just told me. It's not something that I'm just guessing or that my faith in God is just so strong, because it's not. I have moments where I don't feel as spiritual as I should. But I know that everything works out for your good because it's been evident in my life. There's nothing happened to me that I deemed as negative that when I look back at it, there wasn't a great outcome from it that benefited me, my loved ones, greater than I could have ever imagined. It happens every single time. And for us to not have that endurance and allow life to just stop you and you misplace your anger and you're misguided in your words and your thoughts and your emotions because you don't know what's going on and things are happening out of your control, but they're definitely affecting you. Like, for example, someone tried to steal my car. They didn't take it. Nobody was hurt. I was completely unaware, so I don't know when it happened. But it was right outside my home. Myself, my children were all just in the house. And to know that someone was outside of my home trying to take something that, although it's not my actual car, it's my parents' car, so I didn't work for it. It wasn't my money that was spent toward purchasing the car. It's just the fact that there was someone in my space and they decided to try to take something that didn't belong to them. And even outside of that situation, I was upset. It was just like, okay, but what can I do about it? Is no amount of conversations about the situation that's going to make it change. There's no amount of anger that's going to make the person appear and apologize. Like, what are we looking for when we react to these negative situations? What are you expecting to happen? When you vocalize your opinion in a way that's not healthy, when you lash out and you're angry at other people around you, what are you actually expecting to happen from those situations? But instead, when we are faced with things that test our patience, that test our faith, just turn to God and just don't even try to figure out why it's happening, because it's a waste of time. Just accept it. I was watching a video and the guy was talking about living a life of less resistance and just allowing the waves to flow that they're going to flow. Like when you're in the ocean, if you're ever sitting by and you're watching the waves flow, there's no rhyme or reason to what we can see as to why the waves crash the way they do or why rivers flow the way they flow. But there is something greater guiding all of this, and there's a purpose behind it. And just knowing that regardless, if you're in that ocean and that wave comes, there's nothing you can do to stop it. There's absolutely nothing you can do to make the wave go another direction. You just have to go with it. You have to flow with it. You know, I don't surf. I enjoy watching people surf. And I think that that's an amazing thing, that when you look deeper at things like surfing, the amount of patience that a surfer has to have. They just sit there and they're just waiting on the wave to come. And that's kind of like how we have to live life. Just sit. Know that a wave is going to come. You don't know when. Everything isn't going to be good. Everything isn't going to be great. Everything isn't going to be sunshine and rainbows. It's going to be some heavy waves. But you got to learn how to ride the wave. And know that your wave is yours. You can't try to ride anybody else's, whether it's a good wave or a bad wave. Just wait on yours. And never look down on anyone that's going through like a difficult time or hard time. I think in my life, I realized that I don't think I've ever looked down on anyone going on a hard time, but I found a lot of relief that I wasn't going through something that someone else was going through, as if it could never happen to me, if that makes sense. But understanding that anything that happens to a friend, anything that happens to an enemy, it can happen to you. And just be prepared to endure the situation. Don't stop. Don't stop in the middle of the storm. Keep walking. It's scattered showers. That's what they're called. I've literally been driving on the highway before, and sunshine where I am, and I can see ahead there's a storm like literally right ahead of me. That's life. Sometimes you see it coming, sometimes you don't. But either way, you still have to get to your destination. You still have to get to where you're going. And a lot of times we disappoint ourselves and we think, oh, life is so unfair. No, life is life. Life is doing what it's going to do. God already has a plan for every one of us. And yes, some of us are dealt a worse hand than others. I don't know why. I can't explain that. But what I do know is that the enemy has no ability to create. He's not a creator. The enemy is a manipulator, and he plays on God's creation to then turn them into what he wants them to be. When God created all of us, he created us with a purpose to praise and glorify him. And our God is such a good God that he knows that our praise and our glory comes best when we're in a happy state of mind. So his final destination for you, well, not final destination, but his destination for you on this earth is good things. We just have to endure life, endure the attacks of the enemy, endure the tests and trials that God is putting us through to prepare us for the good things that he has for us. But we got to see it through. You just got to keep pushing. Just like with your physical journey, when you're in the gym and you're tired and you're doing those reps, keep pushing. Try to get at least 2 more in when you feel like you have nothing left. When you're on that treadmill and you're running, I hate running, but I do it sometimes. And I just keep pushing. When I feel like my legs are about to give out, they're not. Just keep pushing. It's all in your mind. It's all about perspective. And it's all about knowing what your end result is. What is it that you want? If you want a simple life with just a simple home, being able to just maintain your bills and take care of yourself and your family, do the necessary things to do that and something more. So that way you're always comfortable. That way when the storm comes, you don't have to worry about how am I going to get back on my feet? How am I going to catch up? Be grateful for what you have and make sure you're always keeping a mindset of it's always going to be my turn. Again, good or bad. We all have our turn. There's nobody I've ever witnessed in life that no matter how rich they are now or how fun their life seems, where it's always been that way. And there's nobody that I've known that's lived a hard life that's sad and hurt to where it's always been that way. And the people, unfortunately, who do live a life where they feel like it's always bad and they have no good things happening to them, my question to those people is, how is your endurance? Do you stop in the middle of your storm? Because if you do, it's going to always be a storm. So life is going to always be bad. You just got to keep moving. You got to keep pushing. And you have to have a mindset of moving forward. And these past couple weeks, I think that's been my journey and my lesson to learn. It's been a minute since I wanted to just stop in the middle of my storm anyways. But there have been some times this week where I was just like, okay, what's really happening and what's going on? And I think it's important to have those moments of reflection, but know that a moment of reflection is completely different from having a pity party. And when you are journaling, also journal some possible solutions or ways that you think you can find a way out of your storm. And try not to anticipate things happening. You know, you don't want to worry yourself, but just stay prepared. Thankfully, with my car situation, my parents had insurance. So even though it was an inconvenience, the car can be replaced, the car can be fixed. My family is fine. And no harm, no foul. So I think for me, the affirmations that I've been thinking about and I think that I'll express this week go a little something like this. I am living a life of less resistance, and I accept whatever it is God has planned for me. I understand that seasons come and go, and there's nothing I can do to change or navigate my season that God already has in place. And I have a mindset of hopefulness, and I have a faith that builds great things in life. And I hope that all of you are able to take something from this and understand that the storm won't last forever. Just don't stop. Keep going. Keep pushing. And I promise it gets greater later. Thank you.